is equal to 0. We're going to move, add the constants. 2 cosine squared of x minus cosine of x minus 3 is equal to 0. I'm not going to use the, I'm going to use my own method, which was, which I showed you in 6.1. Step 1, bam, 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 equals 0. Step 2, write the first factors. 2 cosine of x and the cosine of x. Because if I multiply those, I get 2 cosine squared of x. Step 3, it's a 4-step, guys. Step 3 is the minus right here. We're going to look at this minus. One's going to be a plus, and one's going to be a minus. I'm not sure which one. Step 4, I'm going to put a 3. The factors of 3 is 3 and 1. Should I put the 3 here or here? Well, if I multiply it, I get minus 6, so I'm probably going to put the 3 here and the 1 here. The factors of 3 are only 3 and 1. I'm going to that's part of step 4. The last part of step 4 is check your oil, O-I-L, in your foil. If you don't check your oil in your foil, if you don't check your oil in your car, your engine's going to blow up. Make sure you learn to check your oil and your foil. We're going to be doing lots of these, okay? We checked the first, which was 2x squared. The outer is plus 2x. Inner is minus 2x plus 3x. You get a plus x. So all you have to do is put a little sign change. This becomes a minus, that becomes a plus. We check, and then we've got to check L. Minus 3 times positive 1 is minus 3. Oh, you got it done. Check your oil in your foil. I'm probably going to copyright this. Just kidding. Can't copyright isms. We're going to zip it out. Set each factor equal to 0. 0 product property. 2 cosine of x minus 3 equals 0. Cosine of x plus 1 is equal to 0. We'll put a little or there because it's going to be this or that. Solving for cosine of x is equal to move the 3 over, divided by 2. And we know that the cosine of the angle cannot be greater than 1, cannot be smaller than negative 1. We move the 1 over. Cosine of x is equal to negative 1. For the angle, what angle will give negative 1? 180 degrees. And that's your final answer. You can check it if you want to confirm I'm probably right, unless I made some erroneous error somewhere around here. Okay, it was a little bit difficult, but doable. Oh, I want to make sure I did something. Did I square anything here? I didn't square anything. If I squared anything, it's going to, you're going to have to check for what's called erroneous error. So I'm pretty sure whoever your teacher is going to cause some issues with that. So make sure you check all of your work to make sure that if you squared it, you have to check your work for extraneous solutions. Number 14 was done. What problem with number 20? I'm probably going to do this. Yeah, let's do it on the next page. I'm probably going to need a little bit more space. So let's get started. Number 20. 4 cosine square root of x minus 4 sine of x minus 5 is equal to 0. You got a problem? What's your problem? You got a cosine squared and you got a sine. But this square is actually going to help you. We know, what do we know about cosine squares? We know that sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. That's Pythagorean theorem in trigonometric form. Let me break this down just a little bit. Again, sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x is equal to 1. That's the Pythagorean theorem in trigonometric form. Maybe I might prove it to you someday. Maybe I won't. Okay. But anyways, we know that cosine squared, if you solve for this, it becomes 1 minus sine squared. So I'm going to replace it with 1 minus sine squared. Factor out the 4. It's 4 times that. So it's going to be 4 times 1 minus sine squared of x minus 4 sine of x minus 5 is equal to 0. I just rewrote the rest of the problem. I'm going to distribute that 4 out. 4 minus 4 sine squared of x minus 4 sine of x minus 5 is equal to 0. I'm going to standardize this equation, this expression on the left side. Minus 4 sine squared of x minus 4 sine of x. Add the 4 minus the 5 is minus 1 equals 0. I don't like this negative right here. So I'm going to run a negative through. Multiply the left side by negative. Multiply the right side by negative. Negative 1. Negative times a negative is positive. It will be 4 sine squared of x. Negative times a negative is positive. 4 sine of x. Negative times a negative is positive. Plus 1 is equal to 0. And then what are we going to do? Oh yes, now we have it in quadratic. It's quadratic in nature. We're going to use the 4th step again. Step 1. Step 2. This is going to be killer. What times what is equal to 4 sine squared of x? You can use 4 sine of x and sine of x, or you can just use 2 sine of x and 2 sine of x. I know that this is going to work because I'm familiar with this type of equation. You're going to have to work this out. Usually it's going to be 2 sine of x times 2 sine of x, which is 4 sine squared of x. That's step 2. Step 3 says that a plus 1 is a plus right there. That means both sides are going to be the same. This tells you they're going to be positive. Factors of 1. Now step 4 is the factors of 1 is 1 and 1 only. And we're going to check our oil in our foil. Outer, 2 sine of x. Inner, plus 2 sine of x is plus 4 sine of x. L, don't forget, O and the I usually adds up. L, last 1 times 1 is 1. Oh, there it is. So we checked our oil in our foil. We're good to go. Your car's not going to blow up. Hopefully. We zip it out. We set each factor equal to 0, which happens to be the same thing. We don't care about it because we don't want to write it again. Sine of x is equal to negative 1/2. We move the 1 over, subtract it, divided by 2. So what's x bar? Or sorry, I kept doing that. X hat. X hat is our reference angle. To find the reference angle, we set the absolute value of that. Sine of what angle is equal to 1/2? It's going to be 30, 45, or 60. It's going to be, I am in radians. Okay. It's going to be 30 degrees, or it's going to be pi over 6. Notice that the 6 and the 3 interchange. That's in degrees, that's in radians. It's pi over 6. We have to now figure out where is it negative. X is equal to negative. For the sign, if you're not familiar with this, I'm just going to save a tree if I can. It's negative in quadrant 2 and quadrant 3. Let's look at it. Here's quadrant 2. The sign is negative. Well, no, it's not. Sorry. Quadrant 3, quadrant 4. Negative here because of this. If you're not sure, all students take calculus. All of them is positive. Sine is positive. Tangent is positive. Cosine is positive. All the rest are negative. So it's going to be quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So it's 1 pi plus pi over 6, and that's in quadrant 3. X equals 2 pi minus that. it's going to be 2 pi minus pi over 6. We know that x is equal to pi plus pi over 6. 6 pi over 6 plus pi over 6 is 7 pi over 6. 2 pi is going to be 12 pi over 6 minus pi over 6 is 11 pi over 6. I went a little fast on this. Make sure you can do this. It should be relatively easy as you work the problem out. Number 20 is done. Let's do 24. This is where I put the asterisk. Again, I want to make sure, did I square anything? No, I didn't square anything. I do not have to check for extraneous solutions. 24. So here we go. Sine of x minus cosine of x is equal to radical 2. You got a problem. Unlike 20, where you have a cosine squared here, there's no square, so I can't use the Pythagorean theorem. It's going to be very difficult for me to do this. In this scenario, he's probably going to give you a question like this on a test, one of the harder ones anyway. What you're going to actually have to do is, you can forward this out if you want. There's two methods to this, but I'm going to move the cosine of x to the right side. There is an alternate method. This is the one I prefer. I'm going to add cosine of x to the right side, to both sides actually. You end up with sine of x is equal to radical 2 plus cosine of x. Now what we have to do is we have to square it. By the way, if you use the alternate method, you're still going to get the same answers. I guarantee you it's going to be a little bit more difficult, so you might as well use this method. Okay. Square the left side, I get sine squared of x. I have to FOIL this. You cannot just square the 2 and the cosine of x. It's going to equal radical 2 plus cosine of x times radical 2 plus cosine of x. And yes, you guys will have to FOIL this out. Sine squared of x is equal to radical 2 times radical 2 is 2 plus root 2 times cosine of x is root 2 cosine of x plus root 2 cosine of x. I'm going to put a little 2 there. Notice that, that's a little shortcut. And then L in FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. Cosine of x times cosine of x is cosine squared of x. I did this out for you really nice and neat. Next time I'm not going to be so nice. That's the wrong way. Okay. So we got it down to cosine squared. We got a cosine here. You got a sine squared. This is going to cause some problems. We're going to use the same thing here. What is sine squared equal to? It's going to equal 1 minus cosine squared. So I'm going to move it over. 1 minus cosine squared of x is equal to 2 plus 2 radical 2 cosine of x plus cosine squared of x. We have to move, since it's quadratic in nature, we have to move everything, make it equal to 0. 0 equals, I'm going to move this guy, add cosine squared of x, I get 2 cosine squared of x, and then plus 2 radical 2 cosine of x. I'm going to subtract 1 for this term, plus 1 equals 0. Oh, geez, you got a